what's up, Merrix here again with a new video game review. This one is going to be of Spider-Man: Edge of Time. I will say this at the beginning of the game when when most games usually start off with like a little cutscenes or gameplays or something. This one starts off with a little spoiler at the beginning. Spider-Man is killed by Anit-Venom, who's in a big, huge, bulky form, which I think that's his default form anyway, or it might even be a smaller form. Anyway, the next thing is the press start screen. There's Spider-Man 2099 holding the other Spider-Man in his arms and walking away. Alright, let's get down to it. The story is Doctor in 2099 creates his time machine to go back in time to make his company stronger and better and everything like that. And he starts it sooner and starts a project that would ultimately cause time rips throughout the world and destroy it. So, Spider-Man 2099 gets a hold of the other Spider-Man, who was also changed when this doctor went back in time. He's not working for the Bugle, he's working for that company. The only thing that really changes is that fact. The rest, nothing changes. He's still Spider-Man, he's still dating Mary Jane, all that stuff. Jameson is like some host or something. Anyway, he tells him not to go to floor 62 or one of the 60s. And what does Spider-Man do? He does it anyway because he knows now that he's going to die if he goes up there, so he's going to go up there and see if he can change it. So, you go through missions as Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2099, switching back and forth, and if you do something in the past, it affects the future. So, every time Spider-Man does something, such as blows up an elevator or something happens, 2099, something changes there. Such as this room changes, or the enemies change to be stronger or weaker, whatever. Okay, we get to that infamous scene where Spider-Man is killed, and 2099 goes through the time warp in order to bring him back to 2099 to revive him. But then he has to go back to the original Spider-Man's timeline and start doing things while the other one is resting. That's where they flip stages, and once the original Spider-Man awakens in 2099, he must start fighting there. And he is the one that encounters a new creature that is created after their merger called Abomination, I think, or something close to that. Atrocity. Called the Atrocity, which is a merger of the Doctor, Anit-Venom, and Doc Ock, who was just in there for a few minutes. Now the game has another added bonus to it. Doc Ock's tentacles are now breaking through space and time to go in and start attacking Spider-Man and in 2099. So, game continues on. You still do missions over and over again to try and get to these locations. Eventually, you find out who the chairman is of this company that is doing all this. It is Spider-Man. Peter Parker, sorry. It's Peter Parker. He took a aging serum to where he doesn't age. So in 2099, he's still alive, looking like he's in his 30s. So guess who's the final boss? Peter Parker. The chairman, as they call him. They don't even call him Peter Parker. They just call him the chairman. And the 2099 ends up fighting him. Near the end of the game, Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Man go back into the original time frames at the same time, otherwise it wouldn't work and it could create a catastrophic event. And then they fight the respective bosses. Spider-Man fights the Atrocity, 2099 faces the Chairman. The Atrocity is almost too easy. All you have to do is go to these certain locations, get him electrocuted, and go over and start punching him a couple times. The other one, on the other hand, is a little bit tougher. Because he's not, web-slinging around. He's using this big frickin' machine in order to fight. Still using webs and stuff like that. But he's much stronger, and he's even faster. End of the game, once you beat it, there is a New Game Plus where you can go back with all your upgrades and do all that stuff again. But I didn't have the urge to do it because I know what's going to happen. All this happens. The Black Cat is there in 2099 who also took an aging serum. There's a mission where you have to save Mary Jane as Spider-Man 2099 in Spider-Man's world. But overall, the story is good. You know, I like time travel stories that actually do it right. But I spoiled everything about that game. But it's been out for a while, so whatever. If it was The Amazing Spider-Man, I would still ruin it because the movie's already come out. Whatever. All right. Combat-wise, 2 buttons that actually do attacks. A couple buttons that don't. That, you know, web slinging, jumping. The X button does your combos. The Y button does your strong combos, which you can mix around to do different attacks. As both, they're 2 different ones. Spider-Man 2099, his is more stronger, but still fast. The other Spider-Man's a lot faster. And the upgrade-wise, you get many, many, many upgrades. But you can't get them all in one sitting unless you play it on a hard difficulty and you find all the golden spiders. Basically, I didn't look for all the golden spiders because most of the upgrades aren't any good, really. I mean, basically, it's just health upgrades and all that, but you don't even need it. You just stand around for a little bit as 2099, and he gains his armor. So you can have like a little bit of health, but you'll still have a full thing of armor. The music in the game is superhero style, Spider-Man, all that stuff. You know, good music, everything like that. As for, there's no multiplayer, of course. It's, you know, you play as 2 different Spider-Man, switching back and forth. There's no real multiplayer needed there. So that's all I can really say about it. Now it's time for the score. Yes. What kind of score I'll give this game? I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. There's no free roaming to where you can do different. You can go select these different missions. You're in one single place. You're in this big, huge building the entire time. That's it. There's no going out of this building. It's basically you progress through the building at the first half of the game, and the next half you're degressing back throughout the building and have to come right back again. That turned me off a little bit. The length of the game isn't that long. I think it was about 5 or 6 hours. If you do it in one sitting, you can get done pretty fast. And if you have the upgrades also, if you play through again, you can do it a lot faster. The bosses in the game, there's not too many of them. They're fairly easy to figure out, so that also downgraded the score. It's a moderate game. It's not perfect. It's not the perfect Spider-Man game. The perfect Spider-Man game for me would be Web of Shadows. That is actually the Spider-Man game I recommend people go out and play. Rent, really, because the price dropped to $20, then it went back up to $27. Whatever. So, Spider-Man, Edge of Shadows, gets a 3 out of 5. Delta Merrix, signing out.